Hi. Thanks everyone who's joining me on this live today. It's an honor to have everyone join it, or whoever can't join it, you're more than welcome to review it after the recording's done and over with. So I'd just like to discuss with everyone the new OSHA regulations mandate with the COVID vaccines. So I've had a few questions about it yesterday and prior last night of what's all going to change about it, right? Um, from what we've been informed as a OSHA administration compliance person, we have to be certified with it in order to enforce it, right? So the way that I'm certified through it is through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, through FEMA, also, which, as you can tell, they are the ones who distribute all the vaccines at the moment. Now, that being said, I know vaccines sound pretty scary at the moment, right? There's no need to be scared for whatever reason. So, I just like to inform you that as of January 4th is what I last saw the emails come in for. You will have to start complying from there on. Many states are doing as much as possible to void out or exit themselves out of this deal, right? This isn't something that we want in every state. We don't want this to become the new world order, or as we like to call it, China, right? We're not a communist country. We're none of that. Well, what I'd like to say is I've had some emails from last night. I've had people text me last night saying, what's the difference about this new one, right? So now businesses are required 100 or less are now going to have to comply with it. All people will have to start showing vaccine cards and proof of vaccinations. Now, being said, if you refuse to take the vaccine, you will have to comply with the new regulations where you have to be tested every week with the result of a negative in order to attend any of your work or any of your other lifestyle situations. As long as you have a negative for that entire week, you should be more than fine. If you do decide to, let's say, void or just not comply with either or, you're more than welcome to. That's not going to be something that your freedom is going to be taken away. Mm, The thing is that if you take that step to refusing to either get tested weekly or not take the vaccine, you will be terminated or you will be no longer be able to do things that you used to like to do. Now, other states are refusing to comply with the new vaccine mandate, which is totally fine. And as a person of interest of not complying with it, I would say that your best bet, if you really do not want to take the vaccine and you really do not want to show any vaccination proof, your best bet would be to move to a Republican state or a state that is not complying with it. There's one Democratic state that just announced as a few minutes ago as I was reviewing the emails that I believe it's Kansas. They have said that they will not be complying with it as well, as it's overpowering states, right? That's taking your freedom away. Many people don't see it that way, but it is. Another thing on top of that, is that many people are confused whether you'll be able to go to games or even go to your favorite bar. Well, on top of that, unless you have a vaccination or a negative test, you will not be able to attend any of your favorite things. I know that's pretty sucky. I know that's something you don't want, but with the whole New World Order, aka with Biden's plan, he's now enforced Osha to comply and help out. So that way, that if you don't, you're going to get a fine. Fines are usually up to $10,000 or more, depending on what the issue was and if not a violation was caused. I am pretty sure I can pull up all of the regulations and all of the fine amounts. The biggest amount that I've seen has been $50,000, which I know a lot of people don't want to do that, and it's stupid for just not complying with the vaccine. The reason why I believe they are doing this is because, as you can tell, if they don't see that you're vaccinated, you're not going to do this. You can't do that. It's all biblical, right? It's all part of the revolution. Now, being said, let's not get off track. Your employer is required to show that every employer has a negative test or has been vaccinated. If your employer fails to comply or show any of that evidence or proof, they will end up getting a bigger fine. As the employer, they must show evidence, whether it's a list of all the people who have been vaccinated and keeping a record of it, or if you have a letter stating your negative test weekly. You cannot miss a test at all. If you miss a test, you will have to quarantine or you will have to not work for that week. Now, I did get a question, what if you get tested positive? You will have to quarantine until a negative test pops up. Otherwise, you will not be able to return unless you are vaccinated. That is the only exemption that they are making. If you're vaccinated and test positive, you clearly can go back, which makes no sense. Why? Because if the vaccine is working, you should not be testing positive. If you're testing positive with the vaccine, clearly it shows that it's not doing any help. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of hate through all this, but if the vaccine is truly going to be effective, it needs to do its job, right? We can't be putting poison into our bodies if it's not going to do any help. On top of that, they will be issuing more money for the people who want to get vaccinated. That is concerning because, as you can tell, money to me is like the root of evil. It's how they control you. If you're not vaccinated, you don't get $100. You don't get 150. Well, depending on your player or your location, they will bribe you. Now that being said, is your vaccine and is your life and your soul worth that? Right? I wouldn't say my life is definitely not worth $100. My life is not worth $2,000. It's worth a lot more. Now, that being said, I just want everyone to be safe and I want everyone to know that this is not to encourage anyone to be vaccinated. It's not discouraging anyone to not be vaccinated. If you want to get vaccinated, you're more than welcome to. If you're not vaccinated and you want to get vaccinated, you can go for it. That's not going to change. Now, being said though, vaccine mandates and requirements are only going to get stricter and harder. As you can tell, they have adjusted it for the immigration system. You cannot become a resident or a citizen unless you are vaccinated fully. If you refuse to get vaccinated, you will be automatically inadmissible to become a citizen or a resident. On top of that, I believe it's also goes for if you're going to be crossing any of the borders. So if you are going to travel internationally, you will not be able to leave or come back unless you are fully vaccinated. I don't know, and I've not had any information yet, whether they are accepting negative tests for it, right? Because anyone could test negative as they cross the border and then show up as a positive, right? That being said, that's all of the information I have as of right now. I will keep everyone posted as more information comes up to date. I will be posting more people up to date with more of the requirements, if any adjustments get changed. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at hm262-758-8726 at outlook.com, or you could email me at my government email at hminddragon at fema.gov, and I will be able to answer your questions. If not, feel free to text me if anyone has my number, or reach out to me through Facebook or through Snapchat. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. If any of this was confusing to you, I will be more than happy to clarify or make it as simple as possible. I was a little off track on what I was saying, but now being said, if you have any questions or not, feel free to email me or text me through any of the social media platforms. My emails are always being checked constantly. I will always be on my emails, so that's your best bet to always reach out to me. As always said, I hope everyone's safe and stay woke. Thanks. Bye.